The only thing more annoying than bar chords on acoustic guitar are Los Angeles Dodger fans talking about the blue-collar bootstrap mentality of their $1.3 billion pitching staff. So today we're going to talk about a very common chord progression everybody should know. This is going to be a 4, 5, 6 chord progression. You can do this in any key. We'll move it around a little bit. But we're going to do them in extended voicings that are not bar chords. All right, so what I mean by that is we're just going to take very common chord progression, C major, D major, E minor. Okay, now we're gonna play it a little bit differently. We're gonna play it like this. Okay, so these are gonna be what some people call shell voicings, which is not all the notes in the chord, but the gist of it. All right, so we're gonna start off with a C major 7 chord, okay? So it's gonna be the 3rd fret on the A string, 2nd fret on the D string, 4th fret on the G string. Now this is actually gonna be in the key of G major, which the cool thing about that key is all the open strings are technically in that key. So if we get open strings around this chord, it actually can add and supplement the chord itself. Like for this one specifically, it's just adding notes that are already in this chord. So it doesn't really change the makeup of the chord, even though the fretted notes are a C, an E, and a B. So that 5th, that G note is implied. All right, now the fingering is really important here. I have my middle finger, my pointer finger, and my pinky. And the reason that that's important is because when you go to the next chord, right here, this is gonna be a D7 chord, right? All you have to do is go a fret higher and then kind of drop your ring finger down on the A string and then move your middle finger down a string, right? So it's like a 2-part move. Down, switch, there. So 3, 2, 4, 5, 4, 5. And that goes from the 4 chord, C major 7, to the 5 chord, D7. You may have played a D7 like this before. Similar vibe. The reason I don't really love this voicing of D7 is it just is a little too high. You lose some of the thickness of playing it on the lower strings, getting that low note in there. You could even double up with, like, you know, a 5E, 5A, 4D. But the nice thing about doing it this way is really you just kind of make a very small adjustment with your hand and it gives you that 4 to 5, which I think is a lot easier than going C major, D7. Just a real quick. And the nice thing about this is we can actually go 2 frets higher now, right? Same shape as D7. So now this would be an E7, right? Because here's our root note. 7 on the A string is an E. But if we take your middle finger and then just swap that out with your pointer finger, it lines up with the 5th fret, so not 7, 5, 7. Now that makes it a minor chord. There it is with the open strings around it. Here's a closed voicing, not playing any open strings. Root, minor 3rd, minor 7. Okay, so C major 7, D7, E minor 7. Now they're all very similar. Like I said, this is pretty much the same shape, but just middle finger off, pointer finger on. And really, you can kind of just keep your pinky on there, and then just track all the way down to that. C major, D major, E minor, C major 7, D7, E minor 7. You can actually continue on, and like I said, remember I said this was in the key of G, which is why it resolves there. You could really take that first shape and then just run that. Remember, there's our first shape, and then just put that where you would find a G, which would happen to be the 10th fret of the A string, right? So we could run it 4 chord, 5 chord, 6 chord, 1 chord. And that's like such a, I don't know, that's like an elegant way to play 4, 5, 6, and to 1 instead of C, D, E, G. And again, not the one's better than the other, but it's cool to be able to kind of go back and forth between them is a way that you can actually step this up into even somewhat more advanced music theory just by adding a note in between, okay? So we're gonna talk a little bit about the theory on this. If you really wanna learn a lot about music theory, you can check out my Patreon where I go into super advanced detail from your very first lesson up to like 100 guitar lessons later. Basically everything you'd ever need to know about guitars on my Patreon. You can cancel anytime. Check it out for a month. See what you think. I also teach a bunch of songs on there. Basically my entire set list. So check that out over on the Patreon. I will link you guys if you're interested. So let's talk about going from that 4 chord to that 5 chord. Okay? Now, what I want to do to demonstrate this C major 7 to D7 is actually bring out their fuller chord counterparts. What I mean by that is this to this. These are like the bar chord versions. In fact, the first C major 7 isn't really a bar chord because it's 3A, 5D, 4G, 5B. It's only if you really want to plant your pointer finger all the way down to get that high E string, 3rd fret, that high G in there. But without that, if you just play the middle 4, it's not really a bar chord. You're just kind of playing 4 different notes. But this is giving you the 1, the 5, the major 7, and the 3 of the chord. So it's fulfilling all the notes required to play an extended chord, 7th chord, a C major 7 chord, if that makes sense. All right? Now the nice thing about going from here to here is I want to get this note in between, the C sharp, not in the key, right? We're in the key of G, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp. F is the only sharp in the key of G. So this note isn't in it, but we can use it as a cool kind of like passing tone. Just like that, right? So all I did was I took my pointer finger and I moved it a half step up. This is actually creating a new chord. This is a C sharp or D flat, minor 7, flat 5. Now, again, if you want to get really into the music theory, check out the Patreon. But all you have to think of it is like, I'm playing this chord and I'm just changing the root note. Nothing else changes. Sure, it goes from C major 7 to C sharp, minor 7, flat 5. But for just a moment in time, it's as if you know music theory. Oh, what's this? Oh, this is going to be the next version of that because what we did here is we walked this into the fuller D7. Now this one actually is a bar chord, so it's 5 on the A string, 7 on the D string. Your pointer finger is kind of pulling double duty, getting both the A and the G strings, and then your pinky is 7 on the B string, and then optionally the high E string can help out. That's why I'm using my middle finger to help pinch down that fret. 5, 7, 5, 7, 5. D7. Same as, right? So the first way we played it was like this, remember? D7, the fuller way, D7, totally different vibe, right? A little bit more difficult, but it's a different vibe. Now, what's really cool about this voicing is, remember, we're going from here to what eventually will be rooted on the 7th fret of the A string. It's going to be an E minor 7. Now I want to play that note right here, that D sharp or E flat note, the 6th fret on the A string, but I want to keep the rest of my chord intact, right? So if you notice here, this is just 7, 5, 7 on the D, G, and B strings. All I'm going to do is I'm going to put my pointer finger on my new bass note, and then my pointer finger is relinquishing bar chord patrol and then just playing the fret that it was on, which is the 5th fret. So now I've got 6, 7, 6, 7. We've got that diminished quality chord again, but it's cool just for a moment in time to get to E minor 7, which is, 7A. You can just do a regular E minor 7, 9, 9, 8, E minor 7, 7, 9, 7, 8. But here's what it sounds like from here. Again, add some class. You know what I'm talking about? D7, D sharp diminished, E minor 7. That also sounds really great on this guitar. This is the Martin Tweedy OODB. This is like the Jeff Tweedy signature. This thing is awesome. I did a video on this. I'll link you in the description if you guys are interested because I've really been playing this a lot. It sounds great finger style too. Anyways, don't want to get too far into it, but been making a lot of music with this too. So let's do that run. So chromatically, one note at a time would be how we would count, going from a C to a C sharp to a D to a D sharp to an E. Great way to kind of build tension and suspense to maybe get released by that G chord. But now we've got C major 7, C sharp minor 7 flat 5, D7, E sharp, E minor. So even if I'm just rising up to an E minor, I don't even have to go back home. Maybe I started in the key of E minor. Let's do something. Let's do a minor chord progression and then show how we can like rock this out. So I've got like E minor, A minor 7, B minor 7, E minor. And again, it's really cool because you can move this around anywhere. None of this was reliant on the open strings, just like we did with that initial chord progression, which you can kind of think of the same thing, right? Let's do it in a different key real quick. We're just going back to the 4, 5, 6 chord progression. Go a step higher. So let's start on D major 7. And again, back to those first shapes, 5, 4, 6. Then I'm gonna go to my 5 chord, which now is E7, 7, 6, 7. But now let's talk about, maybe I just want to do that. Major 7, bridge that gap into the E7 chord. D major 7, D sharp to E7. And then I go down to F sharp minor 7 here, which would be 9, 7, 9. So that sounds pretty cool, right? All I'm doing is adding that passing tone in between shapes that I already know. And if you look at my hand, it's not really doing a crazy amount of work to get there, right? And you can do the same thing in reverse. I think I just played that wrong. Let's try it again. There it is. I don't know. It's just kind of like a fun way to play little small chord voicings that sound really good. And I really think it adds a lot to your playing, just being able to take a simple chord progression of 4, 5, 6 or the inverse 6, 5, 4 and be able to add little flourishes in between them that extend those chords, make it sound classier, and then, you know, make yourself feel a little classier, even if it's not true. You know, I spend a lot of time trying to seem classy to those around me, to mixed results. But anyways, check out the Patreon if you guys are interested. And thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. I'll probably do a QA on Wednesday. So if you have any questions, hit me up and I will have that video out for you soon. Thanks for watching.